Hi everyone, I hope you're all well. Today's vlog is going to mark the first vlog for Autism Acceptance Month, and today I'm going to be doing my first video on autism and just explain a bit about it and how it affects me. So I hope you guys enjoy this. And yeah, make sure to like this video and subscribe to my channel if you enjoy my content. So I was diagnosed with autism when I was 11. Took ages to find out. We had to go through so many processes. I went to God knows how many hospitals in the space of just a couple of years, and yeah, I can't really remember much about it. I remember getting filmed twice to compare the two videos to see if there was any similarities to what I did before that would show that I had autism, but I can't really remember it that much. I was no use of helping people when it comes to getting people getting autism interviews, but yeah, I was diagnosed when I was 11, so I was almost undiagnosed a decade ago because I would turn 20 this year. So yeah, it'd be 9 years coming up in autumn. So yeah, I've known for quite a long time now. So for those who don't know, what is autism? So autism is basically a lifelong condition which affects your development in certain parts like your communication, non-verbal communication, and things like that really. So what causes autism? For the most part, usually genetics cause autism. What are the symptoms of autism? There are so many symptoms of autism that we could be here all day. But for me, well, obviously every autistic person is different. No two autistic people are the same, so it's different for everyone. But for me, I struggle with eye contact, body language, um, communication, like making friends and that. I struggle a lot with sharing. What else? I struggle with bright lights, loud noises, things like that. I have lots of symptoms. We could be here all day, but we all have different symptoms because no two autistic people are the same, like I've said. Who's most affected by autism? Well, autism affects boys and girls. We have to remember this. It's not just boys that get affected by autism, it's girls too. So basically, like it affects boys more. Like boys are 4 times more likely to have autism than girls, but it affects girls a lot too. And the thing is, a lot more girls could have autism than what we think, because it's a lot harder to diagnose an autistic girl because we're more likely to hide our symptoms of our autism. So it's a lot harder to diagnose us. So for all we know, there could be just as many girls with autism as there is boys, or even more than boys for all we know, because there's a lot of girls out there that have been undiagnosed, so we don't left undiagnosed, so we don't know if there's more girls with it or not. So only for now that there's way more boys diagnosed with autism, just because boys should usually, for the most part, show more symptoms of autism because girls are better at hiding it. Autism and my experiences. I could be here all day talking about my autism experiences, but I'm just going to talk about some of them. So first off, I'm going to start off with sensory overload. So a lot of us autistic people have sensory overload to many things, like could be touch, loud noises, bright lights, feel, whatever, or smell, taste, all those things. But basically, when I was younger, whenever a loud motorbike or ambulance went past, I'd always put my ears in because the sound was far too loud to me. Because my noise levels are louder than a normal person, like a neurotypical, I think it's called. And I hated bright lights, like in drama when the lights were really, really bright. My eyes would go like this because I hated bright lights, and the sun would hurt my eyes after a while, so I'd have to go in the shades so my eyes wouldn't get too hurt and I wouldn't feel too uncomfortable. And so that's why I have these glasses which have black shades in them, so the sun that takes the sun off my eyes, and that helps me so much. It feels so much better because the sun's far too bright for me, so I have lenses in them specifically made for that. And also, I hate touch when I'm upset. When someone touches me when I'm upset, I just find it so uncomfortable and so painful in many ways. I only feel comfortable getting hugs really from my loved ones. When it comes to people I don't know, I feel a bit more awkward about. I'm oh, maybe not, maybe you shouldn't do that. But I let them do it anyway, even if I hate the feel of it, because I'm too nice to say no. But yeah, touch is a thing that I can be quite funny with. It depends how I feel on the day, really. So that's my experiences with sensory overload. Next, I'm going to talk about my experiences with sharing. So, when I was about 6, my friend came over to my house, one of my best friends. I'm not going to name him because he probably can't even remember this, to be honest, but I do, but I remember everything. But basically, it was in the old house. I was playing Sims on the DS, and basically, I was in my own little world just playing it, and I wasn't even showing him the game. And then my mum and dad had a right go at me when he left the house, and I couldn't understand why they were having a go at me. They're like, "You didn't show the game to him or whatever," and I was like, "I was showing the game to him though," and no, you weren't. So I was just looking at myself. I thought I was showing it to him. Obviously, I wasn't. Obviously, I was just looking at it like this. when I thought I was like going like that, but obviously I didn't know how to share, I guess. So that was my experience of sharing. Not and sharing is a thing that us autistics find really hard because we kind of keep our interests to ourselves. I notice we don't like showing people what we're interested in, so we're just like in our own little world, doing our own little thing, forgetting that there's someone there that wants to see our thing and wants to see what we're into. So yeah, I was a lot like that when I was younger. Next, we're going to talk about communication, which I know pretty much every autistic person struggles with. It's basically knowing how to take turns in social situations, knowing how to approach someone. It's something we find really, really difficult. We find communication really difficult because we struggle with things like body language and eye contact and things like that. So, social situations are obviously really difficult for us because people seem to think that we're in our own little world, and actually, some of us actually really, really do want to make friends. Actually, a lot of us do, but like I struggled with friendship a lot, didn't know how to approach people. It got quite frustrating, especially in my early years of high school, because I knew that I was different to the other girls. So that made me feel really overwhelmed and stressed out in so many ways. Like every time I went to LS for a test, I felt like the odd one out. I was like, I don't want to go to LS a test. I want to do it in the classroom, like do like normal kids, you know. So I did it in the classroom when I was like in S2, and my score ended up turning out pretty crap. I got like 7 out of 30. Like I could have got more if I actually did it in LS for the extra time, but I was like, no, I want to be like the cool kids. I want to do like them. And I realized actually being your own person's a good thing. Sometimes fitting in, people don't like that. Well, if you be your own person, people will like you for who you are, and you'll end up with the right friends. And my friendship group today is absolutely amazing. And I couldn't be happier with the friendship group I have and the incredible family I have from the beginning. So yeah, I do feel like a lucky girl. And plus I've even got a boyfriend now. Damien, he's like the best boyfriend ever, so I couldn't be more thankful for him. But yeah, there was very stressful days, and I hated things like PE and drama because like even though I love drama, I love acting, I found it stressful like trying to pick a group. Like I hate doing that in PE. I even got yelled at once saying, "You need to pick a group, Lauren, for goodness sake." I'm like, I don't know how to do it. I don't know how to approach people. What about if I make a fool of myself and everyone will laugh at me? So yeah, I did have a lot of like low confidence because when I was in primary school, I'd literally compete in everything. I'd take in primary six. I did as much as dance club, singing club, and running club. So I literally did everything. But when puberty started to kick in, I found out I was autistic. My confidence started going down because I thought, oh, I'm too different to the other girls. They won't like me and all that. So it's like a stage of being like self conscious, which I'm glad I've left now because I started applying myself for things again in S6. I did the Chef Roacher competition, did some S6 helped out at parents' evening, um, helped at a Christmas party. So I started putting myself forward for things, and I felt a lot more satisfied in myself, you know. Next, I'm going to talk about stimming. And for those of you who don't know what stimming is, that's cool because it's like a different word we use for like movement. So basically, stimming is just like when you move in a certain way, you do a repetitive movement. That's basically all it is. So yeah, they've learned something new. There you go. You may already know it, but I know a lot of people probably wouldn't know what that means. And basically, my way of stimming is always shaking my hands. Like when I listen to music, I find myself going like this, and I get really excited when the song comes on. And I do it all the time to the point that I hurt my hands. And I'm like, ow! But I can't help it. I just love stimming. Like I don't know, that movement just makes me happy. I don't know. Like when I listen to music, I just have to do some kind of movement. I can't sit still and listen to it. That's why I'm terrible at sitting still during films because I find myself moving out my chair after a while. If the film goes on for more than 2 hours, you'll see me like rocking on my chair or something or moving my hands because I can't sit still for very long. I don't have much patience, and I'm a very fidgety person overall, which is what made it hard for me to concentrate in school as well, which is why I struggled with my work and that because I found it hard to sit still. But I kind of learned to sit still. I mean, I'm struggling at home doing it because there's no one there to tell me, Lauren, sit still. Like there's no one. I'm just in my room. Like there's no one here to tell me, so I have to try and make myself sit still. But that's really hard. But sometimes what I do is I listen to the call and walk around my room, and sometimes that helps me take it in all sorts of way for me to move around, which I find a bit easier rather than trying my best to sit still, which is really difficult for me. Next, I'm going to talk about strong interests. So a lot of us autistic people get obsessed with things and get so obsessed to the point that's all we talk about. And basically, I've had so many obsessions through the years. One time I wanted to be a doctor. I got obsessed with that. Got a doctor kit and everything for my 6th birthday. Did science. Realised that I can't do that. I can't do science. I hate science. I hate it all. um, when I was on like about 10, I wanted to be a dancer for some reason. I don't know why. I don't know where that came from, but I think it's because I was doing dance clubs. I was like, I can be a dancer. but I didn't quite work out. Then I wanted to be an author because I was writing loads of books. I went through a phase of writing loads and loads of storybooks, and that's all I would do during my growing time, do lots of writing. So it's like I was doing extra work when actually it was something I enjoyed, but I went through a phase of that. And then when I was about um 13, I want to be a singer. I want to be a pop star, but I realised it's harder than what it seems. Then when I was about 14, I want to be a crafty girl. I want to do cake deck. I want to do fashion. I want to do it all. I want to get out there and do it all. But that didn't really work out either. And then when I was about around about that age, I also want to do drama. Then I realised that wouldn't work out either. And then when I was about 17, no, 18 actually, I wanted to do social sciences and I really enjoyed it. I realised I should be doing psychology because I love helping people. This is perfect for me. I finally found the course. So yeah, I've gone through a lot of stages of interests. But then I do have, the thing is, my interests are quite normal. I wouldn't say I have any strange interests as a teenager. Like, I dress like a teenager, I guess. I like to wear makeup like a normal teenage girl. I like to do my nails like a normal teenage girl. I like to listen to normal music like a teenage girl. I like lots of pop music. My mum does as well. Not every not old person, but not every person like older likes old music. If you see what I mean, like. But yeah, I get a lot of my music taste from my mum, which sounds a bit clingy, but it's just like normal stuff for like Ed Sheeran, Plum of Faith, Emily Sandé. But I also like normal things like kids my age do, like uh Little Mix, One Direction, just your general pop bands, you know. So I had normal interests like a normal teenage girl, but I had did I have any strange interests? Not really. I'd say my interests were quite normal, I guess, but I was just a normal girl. The only thing I thought was strange in myself was maybe the fact that I wore such young looking clothes and like I'd wear like you have to see my leggings, they're like really cool. I'll show you in a minute. Right, I always like love wearing the knit leggings like this, which is what made me different to our teenage girls, since not many teenage girls wore leggings like these, but I think they're really, really cool, so nothing wrong with being different. But anyway, that is entirely off topic. But I do have similar interests to girls my age, really. Like I know some autistic people have obsessed interests with things that you wouldn't observe as being like for an old teenager. Nothing wrong with it, but not usual thing for teenagers. Like for example, a person with autism may be obsessed with trains, and not that many people my age I would say are obsessed with trains or things like that. Nothing wrong with it. It's cool and all that, but I wouldn't say any of my interests appear strange to other teenagers. My interests are quite like just general interests, I guess. And even when it comes to music and movies and that, the things I like watching, they're just kind of normal. Like, I love watching Disney films, but again, loads of teenage girls like Disney movies. Maybe even teenage boys quite like them as well. Like, especially like Pixel films, they're totally perfect for everyone. So I think, yeah, my interests are quite normal for anyone really. Like, I wouldn't say I have a strange interest. Next, I'm going to talk about empathy and autism. So a lot of people seem to presume that if a person has autism, they have no empathy for others, and that's really not true. If anything, it's the complete opposite way around, because we know how it feels like to be the odd ones out. We know how it feels like to be left out of things. So when we see someone being left out or someone not happy within themselves, that makes us feel really upset, and we can empathize really strongly with that, because we know how it feels to like be hurt and all that. Because a lot of autistic people get bullied, like we're very vulnerable to being bullied, so we know how that feels, and like we don't want someone to feel that way, so we'll do everything we can to make sure they feel okay. And I have very strong empathy for people. Like I remember my granddad went to hospital, I was absolutely really upset. He didn't deserve that. Like he's such an incredible man. When we went out of hospital, it was like the best feeling ever, and I called him during the lockdown and he was so happy. It was so nice. And then later in the year I saw him and he was so much better. It was really nice to see him in person and all that. But yeah, it's just one example. And then my sister had a seizure. I absolutely freaked out. I thought she was actually going to die. Like I was so terrified. But again, she was okay. But it did really freak me out in the moment. It made me terrified. Whenever my friends say something like, "Oh, so and so is really in a bad period at the moment. It's really upset," it starts to worry me to the point I can't even sleep. So I always worry about things really, really easily. So I do have a lot of empathy for people, and even though I'm autistic doesn't mean I lack empathy. If anything, I've got more than others, and I care a lot about people. And if I didn't care about people, I wouldn't be doing psychology-based videos, would I? I wouldn't be so into psychology. So yeah, I do have a lot of empathy for people. Last but not least, I do have more symptoms than this, but we could be here all day going on to symptoms if I go all into it and everything, but basically I'm going to talk about the fact that I walk on my tiptoes. So a lot of us autistic people walk on our tiptoes. As a symptom doesn't really get talked about much, but it's something we do. Well, some of us do anyway. I'm not sure if all autistic people do it, but I found one time I walked on my tiptoes so much, my toes got really sore and blistery and red that my mum actually had to put tissue and like wool over my toes. This was like just last Christmas because my toes were just so sore. So I got all wrapped up and yeah, my toes felt fine. They healed up quite quickly, but it can like cause a lot of injury to me when I walk on my toes. But it's something like really unusual I do, and people look at me walking my toes and like, "Are you okay? You're walking weirdly." I'm like, "Well, that's how I walk all the time. Like, it's nothing different to me." But as long as I don't hurt myself too much, I guess that's the main thing. So how did I figure out I might have autism? Well, my mum figured out I had autism. Basically, what she did was she tried to point me to a car, but I pointed to the wrong car. I looked at the wrong car. I was like, "Oh, the car's red," and mum was like, "No, it's yellow," because I was looking the wrong way. Because us autistics seem to look in different directions. Like we can't follow an arrow. Like if you point at something, we can't follow the point. So if you give us directions on somewhere to go, we'll just go the complete wrong way, which is what I did for fashion. Like I was given directions on where to go for my fashion class in fourth year when I first started, and I couldn't find it. I was like, "Where is it?" Because I can't follow arrows very well, so I had to actually get someone to go and show me, which was kind of awkward. So I ended up being like 20 minutes late, but the teacher understood. But yeah, we don't follow arrows very well, and that's the first symptom mum figured out. And mum thought, "Oh, I think she's probably autistic," and she was right, just from one symptom. It's crazy, but that's the first sign that she saw when I was like a little girl. I think I was like 3 or 4 or something, and I didn't find out till I was 11, which shows you how much girls hide it. I just want to say thank you so much, guys, for everyone who watched this video from start to end. Like, I know it's a really long blog, and I know you're probably thinking, oh my god, she went on and on, but there's so much to talk about autism, and I will be doing a few more videos during the Autism Acceptance Month, so just so you guys can get to learn a bit more about me and learn more about autism, because it's a topic that means so much to me. So I really hope you guys enjoyed this, and yeah, and remember to light it up red, not blue, because blue is part of Autism Speaks, which is a harmful group. So make sure to light up red because red is the better colour to use.